Welcome to my video about the best character design in the Borderlands franchise. Now, full disclosure, this is my opinion, although I'm going to try to be pretty objective about it. I didn't include the Borderlands 1 characters, really, or I guess I didn't pick one of them, because their skill trees were just really kind of lackluster to what we've seen in Borderlands 2 in the pre-sequel. Borderlands 2 Zero probably came the closest in my opinion, even though I don't play him often. I recognize his ability to just make any gun work. But he's kind of squishy, very critical hit reliant, which I don't look at too bad of a thing, but you know, he's got a few flaws. Although I think he is brilliantly designed, probably the top of Borderlands 2. I think Krieg is up there as well. Some people might argue Sal, and I can see their arguments, but I think he's more broken than intelligently designed. I think a lot of his stuff was a little unintentional. So that's why he's out, and I just think for the discussion of, I guess, balance, it's pretty poorly designed. Also, man, I love the skybox in the pre-sequel. This just looks awesome. So I went with a character in the pre-sequel, and I left it blank here on purpose to give a little illusion of suspense. It is not Nisha, and the reason I did not go with Nisha is a lot of her answers to things are just to throw more bullets at it, and that gives her a lot of ammo issues, and she's got no way to negate ammo issue or have ammo regen, and I think that hurts her. I'm not a big fan of the aimbot in general for her action skill, but I get it. I get why people like it. But that's why I didn't pick her. Athena, I thought Athena's really awesome, but endgame, unless you're running Maelstrom, she doesn't really work that well. But she is the best elemental character the game has designed yet. The reasons I held her back is her action skill prevents you from aiming down sights, which really limits, doll weaponry, sniper rifles. She can't really make use of non-elemental guns, so there goes Jacobs. So you have this character that essentially doesn't really work well with Jacobs, doll, or snipers. It's a lot you're taking out of the weaponry for a character. So as cool as she is, that limited took her out. I guess I'm not going to go over all of them. I picked Jack. And I'm going to go over why I picked Jack here. This includes action skill points, and I even kind of put comms into it. I think Jack's action skill is incredibly cool and awesome. He's not quite a pet class, he's not quite that soldier turret class, it's somewhere in between. And I think the design of the way the Jacks work is just great. So, you deploy them out, they deploy slightly ahead of you, which is nice. They slowly lose health and then will respawn. And you can take advantage of this mechanic, which is interesting. But also the fact that they move with you. As I move, they're going to respawn and move with me. And I think that's awesome. And then the fact that you can just hold down your action skill and recall them for a quickened cooldown. Where Axton, you got to go chase his turret, move over to his turret and recall it. Just holding down that action skill just makes that seem kind of archaic. They don't have that derpy problem some like pet classes like Deathtrap, where Deathtrap's going to kind of run away and do his own thing. Because they follow you, you can kind of guide them into target or focus on what you want them to focus on. So they're kind of a more controllable turret and pet. And they have a lot more synergy with you than Bloodwing, Deathtrap, Axton or Roland's turrets. Wolf and Saint are pretty cool, but I'm going to go with these guys. So I love the action skill. They shoot or they melee when they're close by. I'm not going to hit all the skills, but I'm going to kind of hit the highlights. So he's got 3 skill trees here. The hero of the story is kind of about keeping your Jacks alive and buffing your Digijacks. The greater good is kind of about sacrificing to become more powerful. And free enterprise, it's kind of, I don't even know how to explain this. It's kind of as manufacturer. There's some Hyperion skills, and I don't know. It's just a cool tree. So I'll start over here. Tier 1, you've got a lot of like weapon swapping. Weapon swap speed and fire rate with swap speed. Why this is interesting is the capstone down here, sponsored by, I'm pretty sure you guys should all be familiar with it, but as you swap, you get a benefit from the gun you swap to the gun you're holding. So Doll, Hyperion, whatever. Jacobs get more damage. Hyperion you get more accuracy. Scav you get more mag size. Vlad a fire rate. You can add explosive with Torg or elements from Maliwan. You can really kind of custom fit your gun. It's a really interesting capstone. This goes along with it too. Swapping guns and hitting with a different one, you get some more explosive damage. You have money as power. Money and power, I think this is one of the coolest game changers because this isn't anarchy. As you just pick up money and you get extra damage. But because Jack's got so many awesome DPS skills, you don't need to rely on this like you do for Maelstrom or Anarchy. This is just bonus. It's gravy. It's just damage on top of your damage. And if you get it up to 999 stacks, it's ridiculous damage, and it's broken at 999 stacks, but it takes so long to get there. If you stack all that, you deserve to have that fun. But here's where we get to the fun ones. Company Man. So with this, for every Hyperion item you have equipped, you get more accuracy and critical hit damage. And it's not that hard to put on 7 Hyperion items and 1 non-Hyperion item. And when you do that, you kind of break accuracy. And your critical hit damage, this is like above and beyond what Zero has out of just one skill. I guess it doesn't quite compete with high stacks of CA, but 10% per item, that's 70% critical hit damage you're adding at 5 out of 5. And yes, comms boost this. So yeah, that just gets ridiculous. Then you go to Absolute Advantage. So these are kind of the keystone skills, I guess. 40% is a kill skill, to be fair, but we'll get to that in a little bit. 40% chance not to consume ammo on kill. That's huge. That really extends your magazines and just, ammo usage. And as you've seen, the deputy build with him and shotgun builds and a lot of other people doing that, it's almost flat out broken how powerful that is. And even these, passive health regen, this is kind of deep to have there, but more fire rate, which can get pretty silly here. These are alright. But this can stack up to give you ridiculous fire rate. So if you empty all your magazines and just have, if you're mainly using that one gun, you just empty all the bullets in all your other magazines, you get crazy fire rate boost from this. But then over here, you have 2 really good DPS skills here. Integrity, which you get more damage when they're below 40% health. Or Collaborate, which an extra 5% damage per stack whenever your Digijacks die. So this is the whole thing of letting them die. That's 50% bonus damage. And when you consider that big 70% critical hit damage, 50% base damage, you've already got a pretty solid base for something nice here. Moving down here, teamwork. This is a great survival skill. So with this, if an ally enters fight for life or a Digijack dies, you get health regen for a few seconds, and it stacks up to 10 times. So you can have 25% of your max health regenning per second. You don't get up to 10 stacks very often, but you do run around with like 4 or 5 of them, which gives you a solid regen rate. Just always active. And your Digijacks die all the time, so you can make them die really fast. Synergy, this is an awesome damage skill. 30% weapon damage, 30% critical. So if you're adding up here, 50% base damage, 70% critical hit, and granted this is another kill skill, but now you are up to 80 and 100. But that's pretty insane numbers, and we've just started. These are kind of nice, but winning is another really cool survival skill. Killing an enemy increases your movement speed and restores your shields. And yeah, it's nice for survival, but as we get to the capstone here, we're going to see why that's awesome. Optimism is another cool skill. When your Digijacks blow up, as you saw, they put off an explosive nova. And when they respawn, they have less health, so they die faster. And if they die faster, you get more stacks of teamwork and collaborate. So win-win. Believe, another kill skill. So we're going on our third cool kill skill here. This is what Rangers should have been. So 25% weapon damage, 20% fire rate, 20% reload, and 20% accuracy. And remember, we also had the crazy accuracy from over here. So now when you stack these, you can make anything pretty much pinpoint accurate. You no longer have to worry about accuracy. Now you go to potential. Now you have a shock nova and an explosive nova. So 2 novas. And this one goes when he spawns. This one goes when he dies. So on spawn and death, you get a nova. So now your jacks just got that much better. They can melee, they can shoot, and they have 2 novas. And then this can give you more survival once again. And it makes your jacks die faster, which gives you, once again, more stacks, more damage, more survival. But this is one of my favorite capstones in the entire game. And it's a total utility capstone. And when Jack came out, everyone was talking about the badass Digijacks and sponsored by. And this was kind of ignored. But right now, there's a lot of people that say this is the Jack's best skill, and some people have even made an argument for this is the single best skill in the entire game. Leadership. So when your Digijack dies, it counts as if you've killed an enemy. This can grant you a second win, which can be used once per action skill. So if you just think about that here, when your Digijacks die, your kill skills proc. So now Believe, Absolute Advantage, and Synergy can all be active whenever you want, essentially. You don't have to wait for a boss to throw out a minion or an ad so you can get a kill skill to start killing them. You can just go full power almost all the time. But also, it counts towards things like accountability. Actually, it doesn't count towards accountability. So it's mainly the kill skills in this tree, because these are already when they die. But that's massive for Absolute Advantage, Synergy, and Believe. And these two alone, that's 55% damage, 30% critical hit damage. All of these boosts. So without even going into his third tree here, we've seen a lot of damage, both base damage and critical hit damage. We've seen massive, kind of more of your indirect DPS. We've got fire rate and reload boost, and both of these also can do fire rate and reload speed. We've got massive accuracy. We've got a lot of survival. We've got aggro relief. These novas can act as crowd control, knocking enemies back. So Jack already has a lot of tools at his disposal, and we have yet to go through a third tree. And this is one of his other really keystone skills. When your action skill is active, killing an enemy increases your action skill's duration. This is diminishing returns, so it's not broken like Sal's Infinite Gunzerking, but you can have your jacks out for a long time. Now, killing an enemy, we have leadership. So when your Digijacks die, you get more Digijack duration, which is incredibly awesome, which makes things like optimism and delegation that much better, because your Digijacks, you can kill them by moving, but once you've done that enough, they just die so fast anyways that you don't have to run around. You can just kind of focus and shoot what you want, and they're going to die really fast. Then you have this tier. I don't even know which one to start with. Some people really like Take Their Freedom. I don't love it because it kind of goes against, and your jacks die, but it is a good survival skill if you want it. And, more survival. But you have my shield. This is a capstone for Gauge. And it's a tier 2 1-pointer. And I would argue that the Digijacks get more out of this because with a Nova shield, you have 1, 2, 3 Novas. 2 on death, 1 on spawn. 3 Novas will destroy things. And as fast as they die, that's a lot of constant Nova. And this game has a thing called a Cryo Nova shield, unlike Borderlands 2 does not have a Slag Nova shield. So with this, you can just freeze enemies everywhere, but also, so enemies with shields resist cryo. This takes care of that. Also, enemies with shields resist explosives. So you strip their shields, then you freeze them, and then they take bonus explosive damage. Holy fucking win. This is why I'm saying Jack is the best in my opinion. The synergy across these skills is just insane. So here's where he gets even better. Just compensation. Increases your magazine size with all gun types as well as grenade damage. Yep, he's also got grenade damage boost. And 40% is pretty big, and yeah, you can boost this. And then you add the magazine size on top of that. 60% magazine size is crazy. Now, granted, you have to be out of grenades to get that full boost, but that's not going to matter in a second. So, Zero's all about critical hits. Axton is all about explosive damage. Jack's got the best of both of them, kind of tied up in one. Plus, he's got the crazy survival of Maya's health regen. He's got crowd control. He's got aggro relief. But it gets better. Jack's cash. When you or your Digijacks kill an enemy, you get a stack of cash. Throwing a grenade when you have 4 stacks consumed consumes the stacks instead of a grenade ammo. So with this, you can just throw all your grenades, and because you have leadership, when your jacks die, it counts as a kill for you, so you get back up to 4 stacks in no time. So you can just constantly chuck grenades and just sit at 0 grenades and still be able to throw grenades. You have almost infinite grenades. So you can chuck more grenades than Axton can, and you get grenade bonuses. Yeah. But also think about a 60% magazine size with a 40% chance not to use ammo. That's also a major DPS boost. Leader or Inspire. This is one of the coolest things Gearbox ever done. It does nothing except have Jack talk to you. And in Borderlands 2, Krieg at first, when he was lit on fire, he talked so much. People complained. They actually nerfed it and made him talk less. Then a bunch of people complained. So in this game, they just gave you the option, hey, spend 1 point and let him talk more often. And it's absolutely hilarious and wonderful. I love Gearbox for this. Oh, you didn't have enough grenades? Your Digijacks can also throw grenades. So you can have even more free grenades. So then we go down here. More fire rate. That's very cool. I'm out of skill points, so whatever. This is a really good survival skill. Capacity, recharge rate, and shield recharge delay. So not only he's got really good health regen skills, like teamwork and take their freedom, and to a little lesser extent, supply and demand. He also has damage reduction and 2 skills to help you regen your shields faster. Yeah, he literally can do everything. Persistence, more health regen, and this gives you a lot of health regen when you need it, because when your jacks aren't around, you have less survival, and this gives you a lot more. More damage resistance, and flat damage bonus. And then you can get your Digijacks to be badass jacks instead of regular jacks. So this is why I think Jack is the best designed character. You can play him any way you want. He's got a ton of health regen and shield regen for survival. You know, Maya had pretty good with both of those, but like Axon had better shield regen, not so good on health regen. Zero is really poor with both of those. Not a lot of characters had all of that, and he does. He's also got, tons of critical hit boost, which like Axton really was missing that. Axton didn't have any really multiplicative bonuses outside of the grenade damage bonuses. Zero was mostly critical hit. He didn't have many just regular gun damage boosts, where Jack's got all of those. Some characters don't have a lot of fire rate, or very few characters in previous Borderlands games had accuracy boosts. Jack's got some of the highest accuracy boosts we've ever seen. He's got a ton of fire rate. He's got a ton of magazine size. He's got quite a bit of reload speed. Almost every DPS factor you can get. And then you have his ridiculous class mods. And he's got so many good class mods, it's almost not fair. So the Celestial. Actually, I should do this without that on. Get rid of it. Okay. So you guys should be familiar with the Shred of Fire. How it kind of gets worse as you shoot it. So this its passive boost makes all guns have reverse recoil like Hyperion. So it goes out, but then it comes back in. So you actually get more accurate as you shoot this gun, which just made this gun a shitload better. And that works with a lot of guns, obviously. But also, let's look at these skills. So, Collaborate. Now at 10 stacks, which is easy to get to, you have a 100% damage bonus, which is massive. Especially with all those critical hit buffs. This at 10 out of 5 is ridiculous. It's almost impossible to die. I mean, you never get... If you get up to 10 stacks, that's 50 health a second. So, I mean, even at 4 stacks, it's ridiculous. Then you boost this, so you have incredibly long action skills. Now this, holy shit. 120 magazine size, 80% grenade damage. I'm just gonna chuck out some grenades. I don't even have one equipped, I know. But let's just see what this does to this magazine here. Yep, 182. From 83 to 182. That's ridiculous. Then you have the Chronicler of Elpis, which more shield capacity, which is nice, and this is your cryo comm. Then you look at the skills that this boost. So with this, Insane shield regen. This will absolutely destroy enemies. I think it's the only comm in the game that boosts that skill. You also boost Company Man, which we just covered how ridiculous that is, and now at 18% critical hit damage per item. Yep. This fire rate is ridiculous. And this health is ridiculous. So with this one, you have survival, DPS, movement, speed, and survival, DPS, and major DPS. So a nicely balanced comm once again. And all that cryo damage with this explosive damage works out pretty damn nice. So, two really cool legendary comms so far. Then you get the antagonist, is a cooldown comm, which everyone has one. Oh, this isn't his best comm, but boosting collaborate, winning, and delegation, this is cool. So you have survival, and DPS, and cooldown for your jacks. And between this and cooldown, you're gonna have your digijacks up all the time. So it's not his best comm, but it's a really good one. The VIP, this is another one. It's just an average comm of his, but I'm showing these for a reason still. The VIP here, this is kind of survival. So you get max health and constant health regeneration. But then you're boosting more max health, and the longer your digijacks are alive, the more damage it does. So this isn't a great or good skill tree comm, but your digijacks will start to do a lot of damage if you can keep them alive. So you kind of stay a little more still with this. Then take your freedom. You can kind of move around a little bit, not enough where you kill them, but between all the max health and this at 10 out of 5 or 9 out of 5, you're going to be very hard to kill once again. And then when your action skill is on cooldown, if you have this at 9 out of 5 or 10 out of 5, holy crap, it's pretty ridiculous. Then we've got the hero. So this is another kind of just average one, but still a really good comm. So here you have DPS, DPS, and DPS. So this is all DPS. So you have fire rate, multiplicative bonus, and big bonus here. And then gun damage and fire rate on top of it. So that's, for one of his not great comms, if you want some DPS, that's a really good comm. This is one of the best ones, but it was kind of replaced by a slightly better comm. But the fact that you have two comms kind of for this option, this is kind of the deputy comm setup. So with this, critical, and this is just huge, 54 and 54. And then you have absolute advantage at 10 out of 5. When you get this skill at 10 out of 5, holy crap. Now this comm is probably best in blue, because this doesn't do that much for it. It's not bad. But when you can get this at 11 out of 5 to 88% chance, and this at 10 out of 5 for 60 and 60, wow. That is insane. And then the passive boost on it is, of course, weapon damage and critical hit, or accuracy and critical hit, so even more, which just stacks nicely on top of synergy. So you have extreme accuracy, extreme critical hit, and then when you stack that critical hit on top of synergy and absolute advantage, you're doing, or synergy and company man, plus the comm bonus, you have ridiculous critical hit. And of course, this is pretty much broken with 88% chance, and it's always active because of leadership. Let's keep moving down here. I think we already went up. Yeah, the VIP. You have Entrepreneur, which is just another medium class mod. But if you look at this, once again, I'll go to the comm boost first. So reload speed and shield recharge rate. So you got some survival and DPS. Synergy, once again, we covered how awesome that is. We know how awesome this is, and look at this boosted. That's pretty damn impressive. And then you have the survival from there as well. So that's a really good comm. And then here we go to one of my favorite of his comms, as it's marked with a star. Yes, company man, absolute advantage, and best foot forward. So almost incredibly long action skills, duration, ridiculous DPS, and shoot forever. And then you get more Hyperion gun damage and slam damage, which aren't the best passive boosts, but with that you're going to have 7 Hyperion items on you. And another 49% gun damage to those is pretty big. And the slam damage is pretty welcome, since with Jack you want to run around a lot. You're kind of double jumping to respawn your Digijacks. And I'm just going to throw on my Hyperion items here. And hopefully you guys are familiar with what a quad does. Typically, let's see which slot. Look at that accuracy on a quad. That's ridiculous. You know, if I get rid of these, it'll still be alright, because oh no, Believe isn't even active, so it actually gets more accurate than that. So you can see, and this is with some accuracy boosts. So yeah, this is absolutely a ridiculously good comm. I think we went over the hero already. Did we? Yes. Sorry, I don't know if these are going back in order. And I think that, no, there's another one I wanted to go over. They're not going back in order. Yes, the best man comm. So I should slow down and look at this. Yep, 48% grenade damage. And I have the wrong version of it here. You'd want a blue one of these, probably, because this. So this at 11 out of 5 is ridiculous, once again. Then you can get this fire rate, or as you throw grenades, it re-equips your weapons. So those two aren't the best, but they're both really good skills. I mean, this skill boosted is crazy fire rate. And Torg guns are typically slow. So if you... I mean, even a purple one is pretty good, because this will help you reload them. You are going to chuck a lot of grenades. So you do this with a Ravager. Do I have a Ravager on me? I have a Flacker on me. Oh, I'm not equipped in that skill, so I can't really show you that. But, yeah. You can just imagine what this could do with Torg weaponry at 11 out of 5. So this is why I think Jack's the best, is he can do it so many different ways. You know, Axton was kind of that character where you need to rely on explosive weaponry with his grenade boost to really boost them, and Zero was all about the critical hits, and Jack can just do it all. He can do everything. You can play him so many different ways. He can drastically change the way so many weapons work, like Jacob's shotguns, for example. One of my favorite examples, which typically have tiny magazines, so they're usually 1 or 2 shots and then you reload. But between something like Just Compensation and Absolute Advantage, you can sometimes get 10 or 20 shots out of a Jacob's shotgun before you have to reload. And you get ridiculous accuracy on them, which typically they wouldn't have. So yeah, Jack is just all about completely changing the way your weapons work and completely changing the way you play, and he can do it any way, shape, or form. So this is why I think he's the best designed character we've seen yet. He can do so much with just about anything. He's really not limited. He's not squishy. He's not a glass cannon. He just has more tools than any character I've ever seen. And I think Gearbox and 2K Australia absolutely knocked it out of the park with him beyond anything they've ever done. God damn it, that was perfect. And at that point, I'm wrapping it up, because what better way to end the video on than with inspiration? So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what you think. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. That's cool, because that's where you get good conversations from. So thanks for watching. If you guys have not yet subscribed, please do that. And remember to be inspired. I will see you later. Bye.